But it's sparking into an issue where you're seeing these guys actually trying to make a legitimate play as musicians.
Right.
And that's where I think it starts to get ugly, because
that's where it's interesting though, because that song was #2 on iTunes. Yeah. And for a short period he beat out Kendrick Lamar.
What? Wow.
Right. So that was where I kind of wanted to get y'all's take on this, because the second you said mockery, what makes it a mockery? Because here's the thing.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Dead in Hip Hop. My name is Ken, here with B, Mike Seatown, and we have a special guest joining us, Spectrum Pulse.
Hey there folks, it's Mark from Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, culture. I got a weekly series where I go into details on what crazy crap is happening on the Billboard Hot 100. So we're gonna be talking about Jake Paul. And I think there's a rise of, I think the appropriate term is fuckboy rap.
Is that
That's what I'm calling it.
So the song in question, at least I just saw the video, but you just told me there were more.
Yeah.
Everyday Bro?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's
Everyday
correct.
Bro? With a bunch of rappers, is that safe to say?
Are they rappers?
They're vloggers that are trying to pretend that they're rappers, and there's a whole question of where this intersects with hip hop, where this gets kind of ugly.
Are they legit trying to be rappers, or are they mocking rap? Because I saw a bunch of mockery to me.
Here's the thing with Jake Paul, and this is the thing that I've noticed, is because he actually went to Post Malone's house, and pretty much unannounced too, and they basically say, hey, do you want to hop on a verse with me? Do you want to hop on one of my songs? And Post Malone's like, nah, I'm kind of not going to do this, because he actually had some integrity, and I think part of it's because he's friends with H3, and those guys were pretty much ripping on Jake Paul consistently for the past couple of months. It's been ugly because this guy, Jake Paul, he's done a lot of the rap videos, but he's also one of those daily vlogger types as well. And what's really crazy is how much he's just causing wild damage. He's put his address out online so he gets all his fan base to show up at his house pretty much randomly. And he's run into issues where he's lit furniture on fire, thrown it in the pool. He's renting this house. Somehow the company that's behind him, the venture capitalists that are behind him, have not had him kicked out yet, even though his neighbors want to have him kicked out. And it's been to the point where he keeps releasing songs. If you're looking at the trending tab on YouTube right now, the majority of, well, I'd say a good third of them are songs in this vein, where you have hip hop songs that are pretty much garbage, where he's going back and forth with him and his brother. His brother does a lot of this crap too. His brother actually flows a little bit better if we're going to judge anything on that. But it's sparking into an issue where you're seeing these guys actually trying to make a legitimate play as musicians.
Right.
And that's where I think it starts to get ugly, because
that's where it's interesting though, because that song was #2 on iTunes. Yeah. And for a short period he beat out Kendrick Lamar.
What? Wow.
Right. So that was where I kind of wanted to get y'all's take on this, because the second you said mockery, what makes it a mockery? Because here's the thing. I mean, I know when you look at the video, it definitely looks like a fucking alt-white rally. Alt-white. Same thing. Same thing. An alt-right rally. Because it's nothing but a gang of white kids jumping around with Lamborghinis, by a pool, by a big expensive mansion. What's mockery? Because didn't we ask for this? Is this our fault?
When you say our fault, what do you mean? Like
hip hop?
The hip hop?
Is this hip hop's fault? Did we basically set it up for this to happen?
No.
Like as far as what we
I don't think so.
No.
Well, the reason why I look at it as a mockery is because they're clearly imitating
what we do in rap
a black culture. Yeah, what happens in video, the dancing, the flamboyance, like expensive everything. Like, so the expensive cars, okay, fine, but when I look at the dancing, you know, like that's I could argue is an original style of dancing that's part of the black culture.
Okay.
So when they're on there doing this, that, and other, that's not something that's common to them. Like they're picking that up, pulling it in, and putting it out as something of theirs.
But if you take out every single thing about that video and you swap all those people out with black folks, is it the hottest shit on the block? Then?
No, because the song is bad.
Is it as bad as a Kodak Black? Is it as bad as a Lil Uzi Vert? Is it as bad as any of these other
Yes,
Yachty?
it is because
Is it?
I'd say
because that's authentic.
I think to your point, it's just like it comes from that demographic. It comes off more authentic.
Yeah.
Like just what he's talking about,
Right.
how he's quote unquote living his life. If you see Kodak Black, doing some street stuff from that demographic, they're gonna say, okay, yeah, I can relate to that because you know
What
that.
did Jake Paul say that was not authentic to that demographic?
And I think that's the problem. I think it just doesn't come off authentic. It's
But
just-
like I said, what is he saying in that song that's not authentic?
He's
to
talking
that
about selling his
demographic?
own merch.
Right, and it's selling like a god.
But he's speaking, I mean, he's rapping about things he knows. Right?
Exactly. So what's inauthentic?
The presentation.
Okay.
The video, the visuals, the optics of it, that's not authentic. Like if he
Right.
was doing it in another way,
Right.
then we would just be judging it based on the song itself a little bit. The
What's
song.
inauthentic? Okay, he's in front of a mansion with Lamborghinis.
But he rented all of it.
And yes, he rented all of it, but shit, rappers do the same shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
In front of a mansion, Lamborghinis, and a bunch of white people jumping around, hollering about his everyday bro. There's nothing more authentic in the world than that. It's more inauthentic when we try to go and act like that's our life. Because that is the problem. That's what I'm getting at, which is why I find this shit so amusing. I don't get mad about stuff like this. I think it's fucking hilarious because I feel like we put the steps there for this to happen.
But I feel like you would get mad at stuff like this though.
Not
because it's-
anymore. Maybe 7 years ago.
Okay.
But now I feel like we asked for it. We let fucking Lil Dicky in the game. We let this shit happen.
How did we do that?
Because we built that image up to represent hip hop.
Who?
Okay.
Oh no, I
What you
don't
mean
agree.
who?
Like we said this in a I forgot what we were watching, but there's an industry push for certain things. It's not
Okay.
necessarily us that's pushing
We
forward.
accept it. We fucking
Well,
accept it.
I don't think everyone's. Well, okay. No. I don't think everybody accepts it because, like you said, you go to these shows is what predominantly white, right?
Yep.
So when you say we, who is we
And
exactly?
when black artists come out,
Uh-huh.
who buys their albums? White people.
White people, yes.
We let it happen.
Oh, you're saying because we didn't support we didn't support it.
Exactly.
That's what
We
you're
don't
saying.
support the
Yeah.
hip hop
Right.
that we want to represent
Gotcha.
hip hop.
You go back to stuff like G-Eazy.
Exactly.
You get Blackberry, you get Nash, you got Machine Gun
Blackberry.
Kelly. You get that whole evolution. The scary thing, and I think this is where I think some of your anger comes in, is where this stuff is starting to become more representative of and trying to define what hip hop can become. Because I see these guys as having staying power. Because you get a guy like Machine Gun Kelly, you get a guy such as like G-Eazy, and I think there's a difference between them and Jake Paul.
Sure.
Because these guys, they're trying to play the game, they're trying to play it up. They'll have their one big hit and they'll get blown out. The industry will eat them alive. Whereas if I'm a rich venture capitalist stepping in, trying to support someone like Jake Paul and pumping up his crew, he can put out as many songs as he wants and he'll still at the end of the day have 10 million subscribers. He has the sustainability to not get eaten alive by the industry because he's circumventing the industry.
Yep.
I need a little bit more history on this guy. Who is he
He's
exactly?
a Disney star. He was on some show. I forget the name of it.
Bizarre-vark.
Bizarre-vark. So yeah, so he's not on Disney anymore because all the shit that he had been doing, they kind of, he tries to act like he left. Disney kind of says they pushed him out. Doesn't matter. Either way, he's not connected to Disney anymore. But he still has all that Disney money. So he's basically just a rich kid that wants to play like a rapper.
But it gets even worse than that because he actually there's a venture capital company that's actually backing him in Team 10. That's actually providing them the mansion, providing them the idea because he's just going to keep on racking up hits.
Because they know this shit will
They're
work.
manufacturing a rapper.
Yes.
And they're monetizing his user base because rap is in, rap is culture, rap is cool. So, hey, why don't I just put this guy out? He looks like us. He makes the music that is perceived as cool by black people and white people alike.
Yep. I think that the people who always yap about, I listen to real hip hop, I'm down with real hip hop. You don't put your real dollars behind your real hip hop. So now, like I said, the face of what the mainstream has accepted as hip hop is what Jake Paul's doing.
Yep.
When you want to make a rap video, what these kids are gonna do is they're either gonna make something super violent with a whole bunch of guns and shit, or
Slim Jesus.
say again, yeah, exactly, perfect, yes, Slim Jesus, or they're gonna do something like this. What I find amusing about that is I don't think that there's anything that's inauthentic about it. This is a bunch of rich white kids talking about rich white kid shit. I just find it ridiculous that this is what they think that hip hop is, and that's what sucks.
I think the rapping part is inauthentic. I'm like, do you really want to be a rapper?
No, they don't.
Right.
They don't.
Okay.
But here's the thing. They want to be something that people can look at. They want to be famous. They want fame. They want attention.
Right.
What is the easiest way to do that now is to make a rap song. And that's what I think is so fucked up. These kids back in the day would be like, okay, go pick up some shitty instruments and be in a punk band. Right. Because that's easy. You don't know how to play your shit. Today, it's be a rapper. You don't have to know how to rap to be a rapper, because that's what rap has become to the mainstream media.
Yeah, it shows that you don't have to be this over complex type of MC, or you have to take your craft
or
seriously.
even be basic.
Right.
Those kids are not even on beat. When you want to be rich and famous, just like Lil Dicky, what is the easiest way to do that? Become a rapper. Because rap is no longer looked at as serious, as talented, as artistic. It's a joke. This shit is a fucking joke. And these kids are getting over by putting out joke music presented as hip hop.
But I think there's a little element where I think if it was just a joke, I think, at least for Jake Paul from his perspective, he would stop after a couple of videos. The thing is that he's continuing to put out songs, and he is nakedly showing his ignorance. Like he has a song out that came out later, which is basically a love letter to his girlfriend / wife. There's a whole staged marriage thing that happened in one of his vlogs. It's about as bad as you expect. The thing that got a little bit perturbing to me is that in that song, he's mixing up artists like Quavo and Future. He can't even tell them apart.
There you go.
And he references in the lines. I think where the question is where we go from here. And how we can push back against this, because I can see if you could have a major radio station, if they basically stepped up and they said that Jake Paul, he wants to hop on hip hop radio. If he wants to make a play in that lane, you honestly think that the Breakfast Club or some of those guys would stop him from showing up to one of those studios?
No, they'd invite him in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
Because he's money.
Yeah, they would for attention, and I think the radio stations, I think they're owned by Clear Channel, or something like. So they don't have control over that.
Crazy. He's been on news interviews where he will basically punk the reporters, and he'll go dance on top of their van.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, yeah.
I didn't even know. This shit wasn't even on my radio. I didn't.
Because you don't pay attention to stuff like that. You're not.
It hasn't.
This is huge. Just like he said, how many views?
100 million.
Bro, that's not a drop.
But it's 100 million.
But
base though, right?
Here's
the scary thing is that this is actually perpetuating a trend. It's not just him anymore. You get guys like KSI, you get some of the other guys who are hopping on trends, throwing diss tracks back and forth with each other, because of course you're sparking up the controversy there, and it's perpetuating that system.
I just don't think that something like this truly has staying power. Because let's think about it, like Pink Guy, right? He made the Billboard at one point, right?
Pink Guy, he made Billboard 200. I don't think he never crossed over to the singles charts.
Who's Pink?
Pink Guy, Filthy Frank, shit like that.
Filthy Frank on a huge YouTube star.
Yeah.
He was on Anthony Fantano's Cal Chuchesta's mixtape thing.
Yeah.
Even that got notoriety. Needle Drops thing. But again, that stuff doesn't have staying power. It got notoriety because these guys are popular on other outlets.
But we also, when Dickie came out, we said the same thing about Dickie.
It's a little different with Dickie though, right?
Why?
Because he didn't come from like the YouTube world.
What does that matter? He's a privileged rich white kid that makes songs about being a privileged rich white kid.
Right, but I don't think that's the situation. Kind of like what Mark was saying. It's not the same.
Why?
Because he's genuinely trying to make a career out of rapping. I don't think that this guy's trying to make a career.
Little Dicky flat out said, I'm using this as a stepping stone to do something else.
It's a slight difference, and the slight difference is this. It's like Lil Dicky's gonna take it to another level and quit. Like a lot of actual rappers say that. Jay-Z said it. Lupe said it. They come in, do what they need to do, and go somewhere else with it, right?
And they're full of shit, but go ahead.
I understand that, but it's kind of the same thing with Lil Dicky. With these guys, I just can't see them like producing this, going on tour, all this other shit, really putting the time.
YouTubers already go on tour.
Yeah. Like,
who said again?
YouTubers go on tour.
YouTubers, but I'm saying like as an artist, as a real rap artist.
But he's gonna go.
If he got the money behind him like he does,
you don't
he's
think
gonna go on
it's a possibility. Like Ken said, this could be staying power.
And well, some of
they got the money behind.
And well, some of it is people just gawking at him and just laughing at him.
Sure.
Yeah, they're gonna have some of that. But this guy actually has a legit following. If he wanted to go across the United States, I don't know, he'd fill a stadium, but he'd fill concert halls if he wanted to.
To your point about staying power, I agree with you because I don't see it, but at the same time I also see this, right? The money hasn't.
Well, he's gonna get his money,
yet.
right? He's gonna get his money.
He's gonna get his money, but what if all of the other guys, like you're saying, there's a trend developing.
Right.
So Jake Paul gets money, then all of a sudden some other guy come out, then they get money, then all of a sudden they see that there's money in this.
Easy money.
Easy money.
You don't have any talent. Easy fucking money.
I can see this
For
lasting
time,
because
it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't, because it's gonna be this guy, he's gonna fade. Then this guy comes, he's gonna fade. Then this guy comes, he's gonna fade.
So what? Let him come in and fade out. I personally don't care if a guy comes in, makes some money, and fades out if it's not going to damage the culture.
It is damaging the culture.
Yes, it is.
If it's coming in and fading out?
No. It's not the whole trend that's coming in and fading out. It's going to be the individual that might come in and fade out. But it's going to be this person does it and this person does it. This person does it.
Okay. So how is it different from the trend? Because you can relate to what I'm saying. The trendy rappers that I used to always talk about, like Trinidad James and
Fetty Wap and shit like that.
Yeah, Fetty Wap. Like these dudes come in and go. How's it different from that?
It's not. That's my point. That's the point that y'all are not making. It's not different. Y'all are saying it's inauthentic. It's the same shit.
The difference for me would be the money, because Trinidad and Fetty Wap had a small influx of money, but they didn't have the staying power because they didn't really have a base. Jake Paul has a following.
Right.
These other people have a following.
No, they had a base.
Dangerous.
They had a base. Like they
Not
had,
like
Trinidad
this
James
though,
didn't have
Rod.
a base.
just the fuck.
Trinidad got
not
popular.
like this. Not like this.
Man, Trinidad has the biggest record in the country
That's
at
true,
one
but
point.
Jake Paul was already established. Trinidad wasn't.
Exactly.
So when these big YouTubers, white like him, that get in there and don't want to do it for, like, when they get up there, they already have a huge following. They have money behind them.
Right.
So it's easier for venture capitalists to come in and support it. And if Jake Paul works, oh, we can go get this guy. We can go get this other guy. We can go get this other guy. The kind of going back to what Mike was saying is the difference between back in the day and now. When Vanilla Ice was in hip hop, we had a little bit more control over what was accepted. So once we found out about Vanilla Ice, he was immediately kicked out. Now, because of the lack of control or it's just music, stop hating, all these different type of things that people are throwing back at guys like me who like a certain type of hip hop. When you allow guys like a Lil Yachty or Uzi Vert or whatever to come in and there's no pushback, then you create room for guys like Jake Paul to come in because you've lessened the controls of what the art form really is or what it should represent.
Just like you were saying, well, what's the big deal if he does this? Who cares? Yeah, in 5 years, we're gonna look back and say, damn, we had a little bit of an opportunity to say something like about Lil B, and we didn't. And now look what's happened. Now everybody is looking at hip hop and saying, this is the easiest way to get quick money and make some joke songs, ha ha ha, and then just walk away. They don't give a fuck about the art form. They don't care about the culture. They don't care what happens to rap. All they care about is, let me make this quick dollar.
But I think as long as we have enough artists that do care about it, we'll be okay. It's always going to be someone that comes in and water downs a product, right? It's always going to be someone that comes in.
But it's getting worse, Rod. It's getting worse. As time goes along, it's getting worse because now it is so easy to make a rap song and to make it hot. Again, this motherfucker, do you understand? Number 2 in iTunes.
How long did it stay?
That's what makes it
It don't
scary.
even, I don't care if it was a day.
No, it was. When y'all
or
said
an
that, it
hour.
did surprise the shit out of me. When
But
y'all
here-
said that.
And
Yeah.
you sit on the Billboard chart.
Well, it hit Billboard, but he had multiple songs hit Billboard.
Well, how does no one know? Well, okay, y'all said it is.
No,
people
it's,
that know.
you're in the minority with that one.
Okay,
This dude,
okay.
I didn't know who he was either. I'm not trying to act like I'm some
and
expert.
I'm in the minority too.
Somebody hit me on Twitter and they were like, yo, what you think about this? And I looked at it and I was like, I don't know what this is. So I watched like 10 seconds and turned it off.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was some big phenomenon until like maybe a couple days later. I saw him talking about it and I was like, okay, let me go watch the video and at least just see what's going on. When I saw the number of views, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then when he started rapping, I was like, okay, we deserve this. This dude still got to number 2 off of Everyday Bro.
It wasn't even discounted either.
He said it wasn't even discounted.
But I also think it's on two fronts, right? There's the part you're talking about that we're saying like you don't have to be good to be a rapper. But then you also on the flip side, you got Lil Dicky, who from a technical perspective, like when you listen to him,
He's a good
rap. Right. So you have it on both sides. And they're just coming and at some point,
I don't.
We gonna get squeezed.
we're out. We're done.
Good rap is going to
We're
get
done.
squeezed out.
And
In a decade,
or the color change.
In a decade.
in a
I think that's
decade,
more.
I'm telling
the
you,
color
man.
In 10 years.
You know what might happen? You know what might happen? What might happen is it's gonna go back to the way it was in the late 90s and early 2000s where there was a clear distinction between underground rap and mainstream rap. And it's gonna be underground rappers again hating mainstream rappers.
Okay.
It's gonna go back to, but that's not good. That's not good.
It's not good. It was a bad era, right?
It was a good era for music,
Yeah.
but for camaraderie,
Yeah,
it was a bad era.
right,
Yes.
exactly, yes.
So do we really want that to happen again? And this is gonna be even worse because the face of what is gonna be mainstream
Yup.
rap is gonna be someone that looks like Jake Paul.
I've seen the progression here. And the fact that there has been this progression, and the fact that I'm not a person where I'm a gatekeeper in hip hop. I'm not someone who can say this is gonna stop. But I think to some extent, critics do have a responsibility and obligation. Now that this is coming in, we need to say something. Because like it or not, our voices do have some power. Some of it, we have some influence.
If you expect to be looked at as a tastemaker, I agree with Mark. You do have a responsibility to say something. Now, if you genuinely like it, fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
Go ahead.
But you just sitting back and just being idle about the whole situation.
Or
Just like,
pretending
"Oh,
like it's not gonna
not a
happen
big
and
deal."
not
Right.
covering it.
Who cares? It's gonna go away. It's not gonna go away with 100 million views. The people that you want to represent rap aren't getting these kind of numbers. And I know a lot of this is just him being a YouTube star. We get that. But what if this becomes a trend? To where if people think the easiest way, which they already do, the easiest way to get quick money is to become a rapper. Then what happens to rap? It's a fucking joke.
Hip hop has survived a lot.
That's what I'm saying. I think the difference for me would be if he had a hot album that made it, but a single that just went trendy or just caught
You
fire.
said there's more than one.
Well, that's the thing. There is more than one, and you are seeing the trend. You're seeing a lot of the back and forth between him and Logan Paul, his brother. You're seeing.
Bro, exactly.
can't take
Logan
this
Paul is
serious.
a rapper, Rod.
I can't take this
There's
serious.
a person named Logan Paul. Alright? Bruh, wake up.
I can't take this serious, man. I'm sorry. I can't.
You didn't take
I'd
Lil B
love
serious
to. I'd
either.
love to wish that this was disposable. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when it comes to guys like G-Eazy or Machine Gun Kelly, I saw them as disposable because they were part of the industry. What I see with Jake Paul, he's not connected with that. Let's ask the bigger question because this has happened in music before. When Korn got big in the late '90s, how'd they do it?
Shit, I don't remember. I never liked Korn.
Well, what they did.
I remember they toured with bigger bands.
They did some of that, but a part of that whole method is that they completely circumvented what was defined on the radio. When Follow the Leader came out, they did one of those, when the internet was a big thing back then, they decided like, okay, we're gonna build up this website, we're gonna have us speak directly to our fans. We're gonna do that whole thing. When Limp Bizkit got big back in like 2000, when they were able to basically like, you know what, we're gonna go on tour with Napster and we're gonna make it fucking free.
Yeah.
They got around the industry, and the industry was
True.
forced
That's a
to
great point.
the industry was forced to pivot to correct to them.
Wow. That's a great fucking point.
And that's we got new metal, and we got that shit.
And that shit dominated for a very long time.
And then where's rock now?
In the shitter. That's a fucking good ass point,
And
man.
we're starting to create subgenres in hip hop, which could
to
create
dismiss it.
pocket.
Like everything.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good point too.
God damn
Say
it.
something to that, Rod.
I ain't got nothing to say.
That's